Okay, so today we're going to be talking about acids and bases. And acids and bases, they're typically opposites. Acids and bases are opposites, but the only thing they have in common is called ionic bonds. And an ionic bond is when an atom gains or loses an electron. So there's three different particles in an atom. So let's draw a little atom. This this is our nucleus, and we have our rings around it. You're going to have, you know, these are basically what's going around it. You're going to have protons, neutrons, and electrons. And a proton is a positively charged atom. A neutron is in between, so it's neutral for neutral. And an electron has a negative charge. So an important factor that you have to consider in this is when you lose an electron, so say we form an ionic bond and it loses an electron, you're essentially subtracting an electron, right? So you have your double negative here. This is when you use your math skills. You're going to get a positive. So ignore this, just remember this part. You're going to have a positive charge. So when you're losing it, your ionic bond is going to be negative, or no, is going to be positive. When you're adding a electron, it's going to be negative. Another key vocab word is what an ion is. And an ion is a charged atom or molecule. So this can be positive or negative, but it is you use it a lot, especially in chemistry, and it does pertain to the pH scale. So let's go over acids and bases. So I'm going to give you the characteristics of what an acid and a base is. If you look over to our pH scale, how you measure pHs, like in pools, you can measure pH in your bodies, usually in pools though. You have your acids, which is on a scale through 1 through 6, and your bases, which is on a scale through 8 through 14. So acids, their characteristics are they're going to taste sour, which I strongly hope you don't taste most acids. It's probably not pleasant, so you don't want to. They're corrosive to metal, and I'll give you an example of that in a second. And when they're tested in litmus paper, they will turn red, which is essentially why I'm writing in red and why it is red up here in litmus test. So examples of these, of a super high, let's say one of the highest acids there are, would be called hydrochloric acid. So hydrochloric acid is found in the stomach. It helps as a digesting aid. So when you hear of stomach acid, we're essentially talking about hydrochloric acid. You also use hydrochloric acid in experiments that you're going to do in chemistry. You use that typically a lot in chemistry. So HCl would be one of the highest. If you get down to like the 3 or 4 with acids, you're going to get citrus fruit are pretty acidic. Tomatoes, oranges, limes, stuff like that. So I'm going to draw a little orange for you to help you remember. There you go, it's cute. So now you turn your attention over to bases. And what bases are is they're typically bitter, they are slippery, they turn blue in a litmus test, and their pHs are with 8 to 14. So if you remember these things, you'll remember the differentials between acids and bases. When you chemically try to test whether a substance is acidic or basic, you'll put the substance in water, and you will find a higher concentration of hydrogen atoms if it's an acid, and you will find a high if it's a base and you put it in water, it will dissolve, and you'll get more concentration of hydroxide ions. So this H plus stands for hydrogen, and the OH stands for hydroxide. And some examples of these bases, a really, really strong base would be called ammonia, or, bathtub cleaners, sink cleaners, any kind of cleaner like that. And some lower bases would be like milk. So I've said that acids are 1 through 6 and bases are 8 through 14. So what is 7? What is 7? Am I just purposely skipping over it? No. 7 is considered neutral. So when something is neutral, an example of neutral would be water. Water has a pH of a 7, so that's characterized as H2O. That's how you write the chemistry name for it. Or blood would also be considered it's a 7.0 thing, so I'm going to draw a drop of blood. And they are neither acidic nor basic. They're just in the middle. There's not too many pHs of 7. There's not many examples beside blood and water. So this is an overview of what acids and bases are. Acids have more hydrogen ions when placed in water and dissolved, and bases are hydroxide ions when you place in water and have more. An ionic bond is when an atom gains or loses an electron. An ion is a charged atom or molecule, and proton is a positively charged atom. A neutron is neither positively or negatively charged, and an electron is a negative charge. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video today. See you later.